Greetings, Taekwondo family. That is now my trademark, apparently. Welcome to Miami Minutes, the show with a heart. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And to quote Gabriel Byrne in the great film Miller's Crossing, what heart?
Oh. How dare you? How dare I'm all heart. Oh, actually, hang on. I've just realised I've stolen that from a wrestler, like everything else in my life.
I think other people have said I'm all heart before. I don't think so.
But it's his name. He's like all heart.
Is it Bret the Hitman Hart?
No, who is it? I think it's like Blake Christian.
Ah.
I think it's Blake Christian. But people aren't going to know who that is unless they watch like independent wrestling company GCW. It's not like a WWE guy.
But luckily he's a listener, John. So he's here to sue you into oblivion.
He could be a listener. Blake Christian, if you are, come on the show.
Yeah,
come on the show.
you better hurry up because we run out of minutes here. But
I'll give him a bonus episode, baby.
Yeah. And I am here running. Oh no, I did my introduction already with that. But yeah,
did you?
Yeah. When I don't know what to do, I also just run bare chested through the swamp, waving a sword around maniacally.
It's my favorite activity. You know, I like to just get with the boys, run through the jungle / swamp.
Just like opening up a cold one with the boys, and then 5 minutes later it is, come on.
Oh, but this is minute 82. Oh, my word. The minute starts with the blood of Yashito, and it ends with the potential of Jim's blood being on dead hands.
Jim's blood
also
on
Yashito.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess I was going to talk about Jim's blood on his own hands. Like, what?
Well, in a literal sense, yes.
Yeah. Or I guess it would be Jeff's blood. Like Jeff Shito's blood on... Jim's blood on Jeff Shito's hands.
I think everyone's got blood on their hands at this point.
Except
literally and figuratively.
I think Angelo and Joe Jack. And Jane. They're just chilling back in the house. She's like, didn't do anything.
Yeah, but they were, accessories.
I would think, like, we'll not to skip ahead to like the end of the minute, but we do get Joe Jack. It must be like, because they're all sitting in awkward silence. I wonder if he's kind of like, he wants to be like, so how many people did you kill? Like, what happened? And it's like, but Jim's dad's here. We can't talk. It's going to be really awkward in front of him.
Like, no, go back to the start. Hang on. What happened again? I need to get my head around this. Come on.
This is like, it's a good thing. I guess they drove him to the... Like, yeah, maybe that's why they didn't call for an ambulance. It's because it's like, we'd have to explain, like, no, not all those bodies, just this one guy here we want you to take it. All those other guys are already dead. Don't worry about them.
This is a genuine question for Americans, because obviously we don't pay as such for, well, I mean, we pay in taxes for our, hospital care. But say if you called an ambulance for Jim, and they saw other people needing, hospitalization, would they pick them up? And if they did, who is then billed?
That's true. That's true, yeah.
Would they bill Mark for calling them in the first place?
Would it be so mercenary as to like, well, no, we'll pick up the guy who's paying, like the person who's being paid for. We're not gonna. But you think though, like with the Hippocratic Oath and all that, it would be like, no, we're seeing people in need, so we're going to help out all these people.
Well, that's what I imagine they would do. I fully believe they would pick them up, but then I'm confused who paid. Like, did they have to pay, or does Mark pay because he called the ambulance, even though he didn't call for them? He called for Jim. I think that's a minefield,
You could be like, well, no, Yashito should pay. He's the one who inflicted the death. Well, it's, he's not literally the one who inflicted the damage, but it's on him. That's why we're here in this scenario. It's all down to this guy.
He drew first blood.
He did drew blood, but I've got a note on first blood. Down the line.
It's the first blood law.
Did you say lore or law?
Law. It's the same in English. Goddamn Irish.
See, even then when you said it, I was just like, didn't clarify that at all. Like,
law. Same.
No, so like you were talking about law, like like data
L-A-W,
and lore in
law.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Law, same thing.
Oh, but yeah. So we come on in. This is a long minute with stuff happen. Like, it's good. This is actually like one of the best minutes of the movie, I'd say. But it's all in a kind of artsy kind of way. Like, it's very
I know
impactful.
I say this a lot, but even more than ever, it veers into Lynchian territory for me.
Oh, no, totally. Yeah, yeah.
The fade, the acting, the music, the strange effect on the one little bit of vocal you get at the start.
Yeah, that's very much. It's like in the Kyle MacLachlan's Dream in Blue Velvet, where he just has like it's all slowed down stuff, and you hear Dennis Hopper do the big like. But yeah, it's very much in the same vein.
I love it. Although at the start I thought of a different thing, like the very beginning, when you're looking at the blood all over Yashito's once pristine attire. The colours and the way it's shot and holds on it, I was like, am I watching a Giallo movie? Have I put the wrong file on?
Well, it reminded me a little bit at the start of American Psycho is like a plain white, visual, and the credits come up, and then you get like a single drip of red going down, and you think it's blood.
Can I guess, right? Listeners, you might know that I'm not super into like certain bits of violence, so I haven't seen it. I'm gonna guess, is it like ink?
No, but I thought
it was like maybe Shaun of the Dead was taking the piss out of it.
Oh no, I think Shaun of the Dead was taking the piss, but you're in the right ballpark there. It's actually raspberry sauce from like a very pretentious dinner plate. That's like it's literally. It's a $200 dessert or whatever, but it's like a little tiny cube and a little trickle of raspberry sauce. And that's all. It starts out first with American Psycho's whole thing. It's like, oh, you think it's all about the violence, but it's actually really about the social satire.
Yeah, that's the one thing that would appeal to me. Get rid of the actual violent part. Just keep the satire for me.
The thing is, though, the film is much more sanitized in the book. The film's very much like it's barely violent at all. Like it's kind of just like, yes, this is a very tame version of American Psycho. The book is just like, Jesus Christ. Like,
yeah, what I've heard of that sounds even worse, to be honest. I couldn't read that. No.
Yeah. But anyway, but it's almost like it's very totemic almost, though. Like, it just so if you're coming in this not knowing what this was, it'd be a bit like way back when we had our opening episodes of Batman, as you recall, like way back when we first started. Because like you're going around, like, you're seeing all these credits come up, and then you're going around all these weird corners, and like, what the hell is this? And then like at the end, you pan out and it's revealed like you were inside like a big stone bat symbol the whole time, and like, oh, that's pretty cool. But yeah, if you just came in on this, you'd be like, is that like a Stonehenge thing, or like what is this? Like, and then like, no, it's Yashito's own blade.
Used against him,
bathed in his own blood,
hoisted by his own petard.
He is. He has been hoisted by his own petard. Ironic. I don't know if there's any way that they could have set that up earlier that Yashito was on a path to being hoisted by his own petard. But no. He was very much just like, he's just a bad guy, or whatever. If there was some kind of talk about like he was grooming Jeff to take over, and then Jeff was planning to kill him way in advance or something.
Oh, like a Sith.
Yeah, and then the irony was going to be like, Yashito was the one who killed Jeff because he saw it coming, and I was like, no, you still got hoisted by your own petard.
Oh, that would have been amazing. And Jeff could have been like, Jane, join me. Together we can destroy Yashito.
I'm still fingers crossed for the inevitable sequel, which will have, among the variety of the myriad of sequel ideas we've pitched throughout this entire show. It will, of course, feature Jane going crazy and seeking revenge. It's
in her blood.
Yeah, it is. Crazy is it literally in her blood. Or there should be like, they leave. They should do a proper Friday the 13th here, where they leave Yashito's body, and then as a freak Orlandian storm comes in, and the lightning strikes, and because Mark left that sitting on his chest, it strikes and then that brings him back to life. But he's Yashito beyond. Like he's.
Oh my god! And he can never remove the blade. It has to stay there to keep the heart going.
Oh yeah, because you have to have a big climactic bit when they finally get the blade out, kind of thing, and then there'll be a big special effects thing with like it's got a glowing thing coming out of the chest wound, and also his eyes, and also his mouth. He's like,
oh my god! We need to get in touch with YK Kim and be like, look, Can we just do this together? Come on, man.
We can just send them a link to the podcast. Like, listen to all 82 episodes and consider which ideas you think are best.
Hey, well, who else has done 82 episodes of a podcast about his movie?
That's true. That's very true.
Nobody's that insane.
What was that I saw the other day where it was... Oh, what was it? There was a thing where someone was pitching, like... it's going to really bug me now, because that was like a thing... I'll keep trying to ponder this, and if I can remember.
Ponder your orb. While you ponder your orb, I have something for you to ponder.
Ah. Are you pondering what I'm pondering?
Well, let's see who's pondering what. If you go to like second 4, I have a question which I've only just hit on, so it's not like in my notes or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just marks on, so to speak, on his blade, or is it an engraving?
It does look like an engraving. I think that's adding to the totemic quality, actually. No, there's definitely, because there's big blood splatter, and then there's definitely some sort of, there's some writing on the parchment here.
Yeah, it looks like, and that's a thing people have done throughout history. Like had words on blades, especially. I don't want to say he's part of the Hitler Youth, but they did it.
Yeah. But that's a good question, though. What would Yashito have on his blade? Like,
I reckon it's a spell that makes him immortal when the blade is plunged into his heart.
Oh, that'd be that. Yeah, there you go. Oh, now we got an angle. It's like that's a case like the Friday the 13th thing doesn't work out for him. He's like, don't worry, I've also got an additional backup.
It's ancient runes.
Yeah, unless it's like a lovely gift from Jeff or something, where he's just like, but then Yashito was much more into Jeff than Jeff was into Yashito, so it would probably just be like, regards for your birthday.
Oh, there was me thinking it said happy birthday, bestie.
No. He'd be just like, it would be just like, hey, you, happy birthday, and it won't even have it won't even have Yashito's name on it, because he's just like, I don't know how to spell it. I'm not gonna ask him. Like, it doesn't matter. Just go for it. It's fine.
Oh no, I think it's either something ancient or something magical. I mean, he seems to think he's got fire powers.
No, I think it would make sense if it was magical, because it would be like, yeah, like, It would harken back to them having friggin' that weird fire thing at the start. Like, that really was setting him up to being like, well, he's like a supernatural foe, yeah. And this would have been the moment for, like, like in, we were talking about it last week, but, at the end of Street Fighter, when, the initial fight between Van Damme and, Guile and M. Bison, and, he hands him his ass originally. And then Giles is like, oh, well, that was easy, and just walks away. But it turns out M. Bison's got like a weird heart thing. And
it's amazing that, yeah.
And he comes back and he's just like, it's M. Bison, but he's all able to shoot electricity out of his hand. It doesn't really make any sense.
In the best way.
Yeah, you're just kind of like, well, why didn't he just do that before? Like, he can fly and stuff now. Like, what the hell wasn't he doing that earlier?
Because you got to save it for the right moment. Maybe you can only use it once every, month. It has to charge up or something, yeah. So you don't want to use it and then the fight's easy and you're like, oh, well, okay. What if I have a tough fight now?
Yeah, he is a man all about the old theatricality and deception, M. Bison. So he's
like Yashito.
Yeah, or like the League of Shadows, of course. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, it's a bit. Yeah, it's a pity we didn't get a better shot though, because realistically, this could be like, happy birthday, husband, love, Mrs. YK Kim. Like, it's probably had to use his own,
So it says display model. Do not use.
Yeah, property of like.
What was YK Kim's bloody martial arts school called again? How am I blank? I was going to say how am I blanking on that, but that's probably because we looked it up about a year and a half ago.
I think even more than that. I think he's a martial arts school. What are you talking about? But no.
We talked about it in episode 0.
We have talked about it many times since as well, to be fair. That is a recurring thing, at least, is martial arts school. But
yeah, it could just be property of that. It's like, okay, we can use it in the movie, but it's coming back to my school. That's mine.
Yeah. That's what that is. It's exactly what it is. It's just like, it's a property of YK's taekwondo orphanage. Like,
actually, I just thought, wasn't it just called like Martial Arts World?
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, I think it was because I remember we we poo-pooed it for being such a.
It was a very boring name. Come on.
But yeah, sometimes things is just like they're just it's like you have to keep things simple for people. Simple people like simple things. So
very true.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm going to confirm before we move on that it's called that. Yes, it is. Yeah. And it's Martial Arts World, the home of life champions.
Life champions.
Yeah, that's the slogan. I mean, are they champions of life or are they champions for life?
I mean, I really wish it was the martial arts school with heart. That's just part of everything in Orlando. Is like we'll get to it.
I think I probably brought up this thing at the very beginning of the show, but I just like this quote as well. It says, he left his homeland in 1976 to come to the US with only his black belt and a heart full of hope.
What to be people with a heart? God damn it.
Yeah, exactly. It ties in, baby.
For a second there, I thought you were going to say he left his heart in San Francisco at the start of that. So.
He left his heart in Seoul.
No, he left his heart with a Starship Trooper.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I really did love it because, like, I guess we should probably get into this now, really, because it's happening on screen. Like, I don't know whether to save it for the actual ending of the film or to just talk about it now, but, like, these little bits coming after of John running around and then Mark and his iconic, come on. This should be our last minute in another world. This would have been like, this is the end of the movie.
It would indeed have been the end of the movie if we're saying this. The way they describe it is it kind of just ends.
Yeah.
After all that. So yeah, I think so, but I don't know. They're never 100% clear if there was like anything immediately after this. Like we are about to get something immediately after this,
Yeah. But I to be fair to them, it would be a swing to end with this because it actually is really oozing with atmosphere, this whole little sequence. It would be weird if you were just watching this, not in the way we're watching it, but you just went to pay to see this in like 87, and we're just sitting and you're like, oh yeah, it's goofy, crazy, martial arts musical or whatever. And then the end just went into this really somber, really sad, like very almost eerie kind of shots of like these men in absolute it kind of like the vibe you get from John in this bit is that he's had a complete mental breakdown.
Oh, 1,000%. And not just what we're seeing, it's the whole presentation of it, isn't it? It's again, like I said before, the music, the slow motion, everything about it. You're like, oh, he's rightly gone mad.
Yeah. It's like he might physically come out of that swamp, but he ain't ever coming out of that swamp. Like, that's him now, in his mind forever. That would be the bitter irony. Like, if they had to do like another alternative ending, will be like Jane going to visit John in like a mental ward or something.
Oh, yeah. He's almost become Jeff and Yashito.
She goes there and like, oh, your beard's getting very thick there, John. Do you want to shave?
He's got an earring.
And then she's like, but, Mark's here to see you, your friend. And then you see John going, just the eye, the ending shot is just his eyes snapping to her. And it just cuts to black. And then like a little pause and you just hear, a friend, and then straight into credits.
Or he's on a heart monitor, and when she says friends, it like peaks. They
just have like we just keep him on a heart monitor in the hospital, in the insane asylum for like atmosphere,
He's got a lot of problems. You can see he's got a lot of problems. Look, he's running around shirtless, crazed, and I mean, again, you could agree with him or not, but he is actively looking for people to kill.
Oh, now. Totally. One thing I want to ask, though, it actually applies to both of them, weirdly enough. But John in particular, he's holding that sword backwards, right? It looks like the way you traditionally would have a sword in your mind. He's got it flipped around the other way. Like,
I mean, I agree with you, but also, I don't know. You would think I would know a lot about katanas, being a weeb, but I actually don't. It could be one of those fallacy things. Let's have a look.
In case people don't know, it means Japanese sword.
Holy! I mean, that's the logical thing to do after this movie, right?
I think that is, I guess, the spiritual. In many ways, they are spiritually connected. Samurai Cop and Miami Connection.
1,000%. And of course, I'm in touch, sort of in touch on Facebook with one of the stars.
So the weird thing is actually because they did Samurai Cop 2. And it brought in Tommy Wiseau, and it was just like, well, now you're in the joke, it doesn't work as well. Like it
was still fun, but it's not the same.
Yeah. And well, I would never poo-poo them bringing in Tommy Wiseau. It kind of seems like the guy you really wanted for this was YK Kim. Like, and you wanted it to be a flat-out sequel to both of them at the same time.
I mean, that would have been perfection.
Like Samurai Connection. There you go. Like that's although there probably almost definitely is a film called Samurai Connection. It's the amount of films we looked up that like kung fu movies. The amount of connections that were in there. Like literally New York Connection, Ohio Connection, Kung Fu Connection, Taekwondo Connection. I think it's just a word. The people who make, martial arts films just really love the word connection.
Maybe it's a word they know for some reason. Yeah, use that. Yeah. But I mean, I've held off on suggesting doing that because it seemed obvious, and you might not want to do the same kind of thing. But at the same time, it makes sense, and we do love it. And we can't do The Room. The Room's been done. Done to death.
Yeah, Room has been done to death. Room's been ruined in many ways because it's just so like over. Not to its detriment because it's just like it's such a fun experience, but also like it's been done. But Samurai Cop though is just still kind of hanging there. Like people know.
Yeah, oddly, there's not been that much about it. There's been the odd thing, But
now might be the time to laugh again.
We'll see. We're not promising you anything, listeners. Okay, don't expect it.
I think the last 3 or 4 weeks now, like literally everything has been like, should we do this? Or also, I've recalled what the thing I was talking about there earlier was.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, there's a guy called Quentin Reviews on YouTube, and I saw this as a meme, but all the comments were like, "No, this is real. This is a real thing."
Oh god.
He made a video called "How the Beverly Hillbillies Changed TV."
I'm sold already.
All about the old Beverly Hillbillies TV show. This is one video on YouTube. It is 38 hours long.
Whoa, I thought you were going to say 3 hours. What?
No, 38 hours, 27 minutes, and 48 seconds.
Oh my god. Right, okay. There's Obsession, and then there's that.
See, I looked it up, and I was just like, no, it can't be. Because I think all the comments were like, oh, it's real. And I was like, it can't be real. Looked up, yeah, it was literally his latest release. Was this thing? It's just, and I didn't even know you could put up like 38-hour long.
No.
Like how many hours would that take to render to get on YouTube?
Because I've uploaded things that are like an hour, that takes ages.
Yeah, and the things like we put up for the YouTube channel that some people, I don't know, one person we know for sure is definitely listening to it via.
Yes, and hello you, by the way. I have been meaning to respond to all your messages, but I keep forgetting because you're the only YouTube person. Everyone else is on Spotify.
Yeah. We're lost in the swamp right now. Like we're just going. Yeah. Me and John are just running around going whoa.
Topless.
Well, of course topless, but that's a still image. Is on that. It's just still image and audio. This guy's like edited together 38 hours of like footage, and I didn't watch it obviously, but like you go on and nowadays because YouTube and the little timeline thing, it breaks things into chapters if you want.
Yeah.
And it was all like season 1 specials, season 2, and it was all stuff about like the granny whatever era and all this kind of like so he's really gone into like. I guess the thing is, I think if you made anyone watch 38 hours about how Beverly Hillbillies changed TV, you would walk out of it going, "Yeah, change TV."
You can't disagree with them at that point.
Yeah, it's full on like Blanca in the Street Fighter movie, as we brought up last week. Like you'd just be there going, "Okay, yeah, I guess the Beverly Hillbillies is the most important thing that's ever existed ever."
I mean, you've tempted me to watch this video, and I've never even seen Beverly Hillbillies. I know what it is, but I've never watched it.
See, in many ways, if that was an hour-long video, I'd be like, "Yeah, I'll watch that." Like I've watched like Well, to be fair, I had more of a vested interest, but I watched like a 2-hour video about like the history of Sabrina the Teenage Witch and like Kenan and Kel and stuff like that. So it's on YouTube. It's like, yeah, I want to know about this stuff. So, but yeah, the Beverly Hillbillies is like, I remember the movie with erstwhile Batman Diedrich Bader back in the day, but no, I've never seen I never seen it, but it's one of these things though. I guess back in the 60s, it's like the same thing with the Fugitive, like the old Fugitive show.
Oh yeah.
Like the finale of The Fugitive was like the most watched thing on TV ever at the time. And it's just like, yeah, no one thinks about it now. Now people will be like, oh yeah, that old Harrison Ford movie. It's like, no, it was based on like an American, nay, global phenomenon from the 1960s called The Fugitive. And it was a massive, massive deal. But then things like, yeah, the finale of Peyton Place or whatever. Oh no, there was an episode, I was listening to this just the other day, weirdly enough. I think there's an episode of Maude.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The old sitcom Maude, where I think she gets an abortion. They're saying it was the first sitcom character to ever talk about abortion. I think the plotline was Maude had to go get an abortion.
Oh, okay.
And this is a sitcom, but it was back in like the 70s, and it was like, yeah, that had like 75 million viewers or whatever that episode. And like the average network TV viewership, like the big hits nowadays are getting like 5 million viewers. So you're like, man, Maude was huge back in the day, I guess.
It's a thing with, I mean, again, like everything with me, it comes back to wrestling. In the 90s, the viewing figures were literally about 4 times what they are now. Like now, if they break 1 million viewers, it's like, oh my God, we got over 1 million viewers. Whereas back in the 90s, that was like, if you got 1 million, it's like, oh, the show's failing.
Yeah. What's the thing? I think in like the U.S. box office now, because I watch a person every week who does box office breakdowns. I think I mentioned it on this very show. But yeah, she always will bring up things like, nowadays, if you make 5 million, you can get into the top 10. Like, back in the day, that would be 5 million would be a flop. Like, that would be like, oh my
be a
God.
Disaster.
That is oh my God. Like, Jesus, you only made 5 million. Now 5 million. So it's like, yeah, we're doing great. But no, the original reason I was trying to remember that was because, like, it was when I first was sending it to people, I was like 38 hours on one TV show, and then I remembered that, like, oh yeah, we've done like 82 hours on Miami Connection.
That's different though. This is a banter thing. This sounds like it's one guy doing like an essay.
Yeah. Oh, no, I think it is. From what I've gathered, it is very much it was that guy who did the Twin Peaks, like Twin Peaks Explained brackets no really, it was 4 hours of some asshole.
The name alone pissed me off about that. So.
Well, yeah, that's like all these things too. Is like, oh, explain. It's like that's your explanation. The whole point of it, the whole point of art, the whole point of what David Lynch is doing is that it's all, there's no explanation. The explanation is whatever you take away from it yourself. And
exactly.
Et cetera, et cetera.
Although I have an explanation for you here. Apparently, yes, this sword does appear to be backwards. Confident.
Oh, there we go.
I looked up various ways of holding a blade, and there's very few people holding it this way round. It seems like, I mean, you might do it to deliver strikes in a certain manner, but he's not doing that. He's literally holding it like you would be, like standard, let's say.
Yeah. This could be just like a thing like, it's like, oh, we got such a great day of shooting out there, running around. Oh, boy, the park attendants are never going to let us back in. No way. Vincent Hurst is stripping off and doing it. Oh, but don't you worry, those shots are beautiful. And then sitting watching and going like, oh, no. Goddamn swords backwards. Oh, shit. I don't want to overnotice. And like, at least YK Kim has his the right way around. And then you see he's like, I think he's got a sword backwards as well. God damn it.
It's why the movie failed.
It could be, though, that this would be an indication of their moral flip. Because previously, they would have, when they were good, straight-edged Dragon Sound kids, they would have had the sword facing the correct way. But now they've lost their minds and have turned into cold-blooded murderers, crazed maniacs. The sword is flipped back onto themselves.
Oh, it's flipped like his mind, like his morals.
Yeah. So it turns out, to the eyes that have brains, this is a beautiful metaphor for John's mental collapse.
Well, to aid our listeners' mental collapse, he's topless, so I think you should take a drink.
Of course, yeah. And again, I got some comments about like what he's wearing later on. So.
Oh, I love it. I can't wait to get to that.
Yeah. But I will say that again, though, I do have to pay them genuine compliments, though, because I think this would have really left an impact had this just been the end. Yeah. It leaves an impact now, but it's like at the end, last you had ever seen a Dragon Sound was just them like absolute feral animals just running around. Like if the park attendant came up to him, John would stab him. If a kid came by, he'd probably stab the kid. Like he's gone. He's out of there.
That's totally the vibe I'm getting. Yeah, like I actually find this scene, it's weird, but I mean that in a good way. Because he might be running around half naked, brandishing a sword, blood covering his body. But the aforementioned music, slow-mo, and knowing what's happened, I kind of find this sort of sadly beautiful. Like you're upset, but I don't know. There's like it's a strange kind of feeling.
Yeah, melancholy, I believe, maybe the best word for it.
Yeah, it is kind of melancholic, isn't it? Because you're on his side, but he's gone off the rails. But it's not in like it's crazy music. He's going nuts. You feel really sad.
The thing is, too, it's just like it's the fact that they're not together. Like, there's no one there to grab him and be like, "Calm down, you idiot!" Like, it's okay. They're gone. They're dead. You gotta get and then Mark's not there with him. Mark's also doing the same thing, and it's like the whole group is fractured. Jim's gone. They're just running around crazed in the swamp together. They don't even know. They don't know where each other. Another alternative ending would have been them going so crazy they turn around the corner, and then John just starts hacking at Mark because he's just like, "Oh, there's a guy," and it turns out he killed. Well, I don't know why KK would ever allow him to get killed by this guy. If Mark killed John. The same scenario, but then maybe YKK would be like, no, Mark would be too intelligent for that.
I actually would like a scene where they do kind of bump into each other and they're both so out of it, they go for each other a little, and before they realise, they both take a swing. It's like, oh, and they realise, oh, it's Mark. Oh my God, yeah. I almost killed Mark.
I think that could have been like potential pitch for an ending, but then that would be too far. Is like, oh no, they're running around and then they turn the corner and then Mark is like, oh, and just like takes a slash and he kills John as well. And it's just, and it's all, because the anti-violence message is that he's let go. He's just given in to complete violence now and he's killed his friend. Because previously they were always just the victims. So it was just like, yeah, we just drag us on, just mind our own business.
You can only push people so far, though. I'm on his side.
Yeah, oh no, totally. But it just means it would have added to the lesson of like, oh, so violence, only through the elimination of violence can we achieve world peace. But like, it would have been, the drag us out of perpetually like the innocent victims. They're always getting provoked into violence. They're just defending themselves. But then it pushed it even further to be like, yeah, the one time Mark just let in to complete like, yeah, I'm just going around killing whatever. Then he kills his own friend, his own right-hand man.
That would be dark.
And then you would be like, well, Yashito killed one of his men. Like, is Mark any better than Yashito? Like, that kind of... You'd be getting into the old intellectual... Like, we would. I don't know anyone else would care. But, like, we'd be sitting there going, oh, man. Isn't he morally just the same as Yashito now? And the answer would be like, no, he did it by accident. And Yashito just did it for...
Well, I was about to say, like, I understand what you're saying. I get it. That would work in other things. But in this, I'm like, no, come on. These guys deserve to die.
Yeah. I guess it's that whole thing like we had with Batman several times. So, like, if he kills one criminal... Is he any better than, it's just one more murderer in the world? But then there's always the thing, like, yeah, just, kill the Joker, though. And because you'd be saving a lot of people that way.
Because the Joker, for a fact he is going to murder people.
Yeah. The quandary there is like, he's definitely going to do, not just murder people, he's going to do something that's like... He's going to do several things over the years that are going to like emotionally scar the entire city.
That's the thing. It's not like with Batman. Like you can make an argument for him not killing like a robber.
Yeah.
Don't kill a robber, Batman. But you can kill the Joker. That's all right.
But it's like 15 years into your crusade, and you're like, oh boy, this guy again. What's he done this time? Oh Jesus!
Well, every time he gets out, he does something.
I always said if I was to kill a murderer, the amount of murderers in the world would remain the same. It's like, yeah, but if you killed this guy, the amount of alive people 20 years from now is probably going to be a lot more than if you let him live.
I think the amount of murderers might stay the same, but the amount of murdered would be different.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all for our other show.
But I do love that this shot of Mark is the same, as you pointed out. Although... we hear one little bit of something he says, but what do you think he's saying in general? Or is he just screaming? Because it's all like, it's slow-mo and there's no sort of sound.
Yeah. I like that. I think this, again, very well done, though, of like not being able to hear what he's saying and then just having the single, come on.
But when I was going through like frame by frame and stuff, I was like, oh, he's clearly saying at the start, come on. And then, of course, 2 seconds later, that's what you hear anyway. So I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
He's the only thing that come to mind would be him saying like, "If any of you sons of bitches move, I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you." And then the end was going to be, and I'm like, oh no, some asshole's going to use that in a couple of years. It turns out
that would be fucking brilliant. I mean, I tried to figure out what he might be saying. The closest I thought, well, he might be saying. I know he's not because it's Mark, but I was like, he might be saying, come on, you fuckers.
I can't imagine YK Kim swearing. Unless he did, and then in editing, he was like, no, take that action. No,
maybe that's what it is. He slipped, and then he's like, nah, my character can't do that. No.
Mm-hmm. Maybe he's saying, maybe this is him appealing for calm. Maybe he's shouting like, only through the elimination of violence can we achieve world peace. Come on.
Yeah. Come on.
Come on. I was like, just put down the sword, you psycho.
Oh, bless him. He's lost his marbles as well. I really feel his pain as well here. Not just John's. Like, Mark, I think Kim is actually very good at emoting. We've said this a few times.
Yeah. It's over. I think it's just the movie he's in and the fact that he's overdoing it. But then in 1 minute chunks, it's like, well, yeah, he's conveying that he's better than Joe Jack. I'll give him that. Mm-hmm. He's actually putting in I guess maybe because it's entirely his project. So if anyone's going to show up to deliver, it's got to be YK Kim.
Well, I suppose, yeah. He's put everything on the line, literally.
Yeah. Again, it almost feels like there could have been a little tribute to the end of Night of the Living Dead here as well, where at the end it's like, oh, the carnage is over, and then like the main guy comes out, and then the cops see him, assume he's a zombie, and then shoot him or something. It could be like Mark now is just like, Jim, this is all for you. And then just like the cops see him, it's like, oh, some psycho, he's one of the ninjas, and then shoots Mark in the head.
Oh, that would actually be amazing. Holy crap.
Yeah.
So it then sort of fades out, and we cut to Mark and Jim in the back of the car. He's barely holding on.
This is, and I guess like the brisk, breeze as they're speeding along the highway, and just the general warmth of Orlando dried Mark out pretty quickly there. Like he is bone dry at the minute, where mere 1 second ago, he was, covered in swamp water and sweat. So.
Well, they dragged Jim to the car, but then Mark toweled off. I'm not going to the hospital, sweaty and dripping with water.
So I'm not meeting Jim's dad like this. What would he think?
Got to clean up, go get a new shirt from back at the house.
You got to make a good impression. Like, you got his son stabbed. Like, you can't make much worse of an impression.
Oh, bless him though. He is fighting for his life here, and Mark is so distraught that, and I don't mean this as it is, but I couldn't work out what he was saying. I had to look at the subtitles.
Yeah, I thought he was. I have an idea of what he's supposed to be saying, and then what I thought he was saying.
Ah, okay. Because I know, because I looked it up.
Well, it sounds to me like he's saying you're alive, like but I think he's supposed to be saying you're all right. You're gonna be all right. But it keeps sounding like he's saying no, you're alive. You're gonna be alive.
You're close. That one is closer. Because he says we're going to the hospital. You're going to be all right. Please be alive.
Also, it was the best of both worlds there,
it's
I guess.
It's the best of both kind of thing. Yeah. Which, again, I'm not insulting it. It's not, I think, in a way, it makes more sense we can't understand him because the character is an immigrant and stuff. And this is him at his most emotional of all. So, he's not, he's kind of losing it.
Yeah. I mean,
people whose first language is English can babble when they're like this,
Oh, I mean, that was a big thing in the latest episode of X-Men 97, just there earlier today. And they had a big emotional bit with Magneto. And then when he was pushed, he reverted back to speaking in German, because that's his mother tongue, So I just had to have a little bit of him speaking in German, because he's like, that's... when everything comes down, you're going to revert back to your normal, your base self, So
I do always find it fascinating asking... I was going to say bilingual. Let's say multilingual, because I know some people who speak like 4 fucking languages, which is insane to me. But I love asking them, like, well, what do you think in? And what do you dream in? And they all have different answers. It's quite. Sometimes they dream in a language that's not their first language, and it annoys them.
Yeah, it would be very, very strange. Yeah. Because, like, I think we've mentioned her before in the show, but our friend, I haven't seen her in a long time right now, but, like, yeah, Coralie. She's outrageously French.
Oh, yeah.
Speaks English all the time because she lives in England. But then she lived in Japan for, like, several years as well. She's like, oh, you're fluent Japanese. And it's like, what? What? And I think she teaches Spanish as well. Another thing on top of it.
That's nuts. That's insane. What the fuck?
So that would be a real, like, do you swap between voices? Like, would you have one person in your... I guess the English people would speak in English in the dream. But then would you yourself be speaking in... Like whatever, like maybe you'd be speaking in French.
That would really fuck with the head. Like actually, I've been watching some of these videos on Facebook by this guy who he's from Hong Kong, but he's English. But he grew up in Hong Kong. He moved here. But so his voice, it's like a strange blend. He's like very, very well spoken English, but with a Chinese kind of thing. And he has different voices depending what language he's speaking, he was explaining. He's like, when I speak in Cantonese, my voice goes very, very, very deep. He's like, in Cantonese, I still sound very gay, but it's really deep. It's really, really deep.
In Cantonese, I'm a bear. But in Sri Lanka, like I'm a total bottom. Yeah,
it's fascinating. It's like, 'cause I always thought that, like maybe... If I was, like, I only know the odd word, but if I was fluent, let's say, in Japanese, what would my voice be to Japanese people? Because I think when I do speak some Japanese, I tend to go quite low. But that might be because I'm concentrating because I don't know how to fucking speak it properly.
So then it turns out, like, YK Kim's actual, like, Korean voice is like, I'm YK.
Yeah. And
then when it came to America, it's like, it just goes... really high pitched for everything.
It could be like that. That's what's amazing about it. So yeah, again, tying back to it, I'm not faulting YK Kim for his acting here by saying I can't understand him. To me, that fits the scene. That's good. Whether or not he's going for that, I don't know. But you know what? Doesn't matter. It works.
Do you think there could have been a Laurel and Hardy-esque deleted scene of Mark and John coming across each other and then been like, and then like taking ages to calm down and then be like, Jim, and then like running around looking for Jim's body. And then find like, where do we park? Oh, God damn it. And like having to lift him and haul him the whole way there. And like, to me, to you, to me, to you.
Oh my God. Yes. Chuckle Brothers, baby.
Trying to like, because they jumped off a bridge at one point. So like, they're like, oh, how are we going to back up this inlet? Oh, Christ. And then just like Mark really announces shouting at John, like, don't yell at me. It's like, we have to go. We have to save Jim. His father is in baggage claim. We got to get it.
Oh, well, Jim is still desperate to see his dad. He might be dying and he's delirious, but that's all he says, isn't it? My father.
Yeah.
My father.
Let me look at him with my own eyes.
Oh. Well, that's it. All he wants before he passes away here is to see his dad one time.
It was great too, like what they had done. So at least they had the level of continuity, because even there, Jim still got the old, the snipped tie, and Mark's in the exact same outfit. They had the sense in this bit to have John driving topless, because it's like, it would be ridiculous if he was just wearing clothes now. But it would be great if they just like, because this was a reshoot, like Jim just had like bleach blonde hair now or something. Or John's just like, shouldn't have stopped for that haircut. Sorry.
Well, they do say in the commentary track that the tie being cut, they say it here, is the saddest part of the movie.
Well, it's because they didn't know it was going to be a reshoot, so they had to cut up one really expensive tie.
Oh, maybe they do say, well, it was a brand new tie. Maybe that's what they meant.
I mean, I guess you could still wear it with waistcoats. You could just tuck it in. No one need ever know.
Good trick.
Yeah. That's like that comedian I remember used to do, talk about, like, come out and show, like, oh, yeah, you see I'm wearing my Calvins. And then, like, put up the shirt a little bit. You can see, like, the Calvin Klein, like, waistband going around. And he's just like, yeah. And he just lifts it off. And it's just a waistband. And he's just like, I just cut this off a pair of Calvin Kleins and I just wear them around the top of every trousers now just to make people think that I'm wearing Calvin Kleins all the time.
Absolute genius.
Yeah. So that's how you black. Although I don't think it's been a long time since anyone's seen the waistband of my underwear, though. So
the fewer people who see mine, the better, really, for everyone concerned, me especially. But I've just had a thought when he says, "My father." Right, we said, "Oh, he only wants to see his dad." Let me throw this out there: is he instead calling Mark his father here at the very end? Mark, you are my real father.
Now at the end of all things.
Yeah, he's like, I don't need that loser who left me. I just need you, man.
But then because they're just zipping down the highway, Mark's like, what? No, you're alive, man. Don't worry about it.
Well, because we've remarked how it's a weird relationship because they're best friends. They're also like Mark seems to sort of be an older brother, but he also seems to be like a dad and a sensei.
I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that YK Kim just looks so much older than them.
Yeah.
I think he's going for big brother. He's like the big brother protecting the clan.
Yeah.
But it comes across more like, no, he's the dad. John's the big brother. Like John's like, John, when I'm not here, you're the man in the house. Like that kind of thing. But I think the original the concept would have been like, no, they're all like crazy brothers. They're like the monkeys or whatever, you know?
Hey.
Although the monkeys weren't brothers. I don't know. I guess the whole thing is kind of very monkeys based, isn't it? Really?
Absolutely. Why wasn't there a TV show of this?
Yeah, man, there could be, John. There could be. That would be amazing, actually. We've been pitching this whole Cobra Kai-esque show. We should just go to YK Kim. We're bringing back the monkeys. But screw the monkeys, it's Dragon Sound.
Yeah. Hey, we're the dragons.
Yeah. And it's just going to have like full-on 60s psychedelia every other episode and like new musical guests. Just like,
why not?
It's like, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tim Buckley.
YK Kim would get on some obscure martial arts grandmasters.
Oh yeah, instead of musical acts, he has on like guys doing martial arts demonstrations.
Breaking boards.
Or it'll be like Tim Buckley playing acoustic guitar while a guy is breaking boards in front of him.
Even fucking better. Even better, baby.
Some guy like doing backflips while you get like a really sad version of Song to the Siren playing. And then it gets back to like, oh wow, crazy escapades are happening. We've like, oh, we dinged our boss's car. We gotta get this fixed. Dexy would be like the neighbor as well, who really hates them. Like every episode, he's like, you son of a bitches.
Holy shit. He's always complaining about the racket.
Yeah, totally. That's it. All right. And so we have of course, the spec novelization. Mm-hmm. But I think afterwards, it's going to lead into this TV spinoff, I think.
This is the ultimate goal of what we're doing, yeah.
And then, you know, the season finale or whatever will be like the return of Yashito or whatever. Like,
John does something. I mean, I get it. You know, his friend's dying in the back, but he's a bit irresponsible. He keeps looking back while he's driving. Keeps looking back. But he tells Jim to, hang on. As we then see them arrive at the hospital. But it's now pitch black, right? So how fucking long did it take them to get there?
But in their defense, I'll say actually, we don't know what time it was when they were having the fight there. As you look at the shots of them in the car, it kind of looks like it's not as bright out. It looks like it's kind of getting dusky.
Oh yeah, the sun is going down, absolutely. Yeah. But the next shot at the hospital, pitch black. Yeah, but I also like the idea though that like they went out first thing in the morning, and then when John haphazardly threw his shirt and jacket away, and like, oh, we gotta get Jim to the hospital. Where's the car keys? Oh, God damn it! They just had to go back down into the swamp. Like, oh, is that it? No, this is a load of mulch. Oh, God. And eventually found his keys. That's it. That's what it is. And they turn around here because John realizes, well, they're not going to let me in the hospital if I haven't got a shirt on. Oh, yeah. No shirt. That's classic hospital rules. No shirt, no service. And he's covered in blood. Well, to be fair, so is Jim. But like, at least he's got a shirt on. Yeah, he's got an excuse as well. He's the one dying. Mark's really got, like, when you see the lineup, like, he's really got Venkman at the end of Ghostbusters syndrome going on, where, like, the rest of them were all covered in marshmallow.
And then Bill Murray steps out and he's just got like a litlittle bit of marshmallow in his hair and the rest of him is perfectly fine.
Well, because the rumor, I mean, I'm assuming it's true, is that he just went, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So that was the vibe you get from the lineup.
But that was the fact that like John's showing up shirtless, covered in blood, Jim's bleeding to death, and Mark's just like, oh, I'm fine. Like I'm just totally.
Yeah, he's mentally wounded, Niall. He's mentally not well. He's hurt inside.
His sweat, like John's still sweating like an absolute bastard. Like he's just dripping, and then Mark's just like, oh no, I'm totally dry.
Mark doesn't share towels. He's cleanly.
That's why they all go around with their towels draped over their shoulders.
That's it. You've got to keep hold of it.
It's like, make sure you know which is your towel, because I swear to God, of this cross-contamination, I will kick all of you out and train new orphans in here, okay?
So they've all got colour-coded towels. It's like, if you dare touch my fucking red ones, you're out of this house.
Oh.
But when we just before we see the sort of line up on the chairs, we see the name of the hospital, Orlando General, the hospital with a heart.
Yeah.
But you still have to pay, I imagine. America.
Well, you even see there up there, like prenatal exercises, $15. You're like,
yeah.
Back in '87 too, it's like, whoa, boy, what's that nowadays? Like 35 or something? Like what's the inflation on that?
That's interesting. Let me convert it to modern. So $15. What was it? 1986? Is it 6 or 7? 6.
Well, I guess they filmed in '86. So yeah,
I'll go with 86. Fucking hell! It's 42.47.
Jesus Christ!
Fucking hell! Let's put that into English money. So 42.47. So £33.87.
Whoa!
And that's presumably, it says Tuesdays and Thursdays, but that's presumably for one of those. So if you want to go to both, you're spending nearly £70 a week. And
of course, if you revert that to 1986 British money, that would be 3 bob and tuppence. Classically.
Oh, fucking hell, yeah. Listeners, English money didn't used to make sense. Now it's lovely. It makes perfect sense. Back in the old days, oh boy.
Yeah.
But the hospital, I decided, like, I'm going to look it up now.
I was a little confused because like that sign is like it's a thing in the 80s, like the turn your O into something else, like it's not an O, it's a G.
It's an O and a G.
Yeah, because it reminded me of the OCP logo from RoboCop there, and also made it look a little bit like, because if you took that little red triangle there and just made it a little bit bigger, it would look like the logo for like a pizzeria or something like.
It's a heart.
Is that a heart? I thought that was supposed to be like a random little triangle.
It's a heart because the G is meant to look a bit like a heartbeat as well. Look, going like.
I saw now the tagline makes
but
sense.
now I love the idea that across the road there's a pizzeria with the same logo. It's just a triangle instead.
Because there's so much cheese it'll stop your heart.
Hey, there you go. Then you go over the road to get it started again. Perfect. They're in sync. But I thought I would look it up now, and I ran into difficulty because it appears, unless I'm wrong, it appears that it was taken over. Again, America, it's business, we don't get this kind of thing here. It was taken over, and it's now called Advent Health East Orlando, but it was formerly before that called Florida Hospital East Orlando. So it's had multiple names.
Wow.
So when you look at it now, what's on this site doesn't look remotely the same as anything we see in this. So I don't know if it wasn't actually shot on site or if the thing was just bulldozed. Are
they still the hospital with a heart, or they just changed their tagline to "Money, please"?
It looks like a giant corporation. It doesn't look. It doesn't look welcoming.
They don't even have like the little GIF of Jenny Slate in Parks and Rec holding out her hand, going, "Money, please."
That would be that would be amazing. That would be absolutely get her to do the adverts, because that's one thing I know about America. If you watch American TV, like if you download it or something, if there's an advert on, 90% of them are for pills and shit. And that's
I don't know
weird.
if they'll be as outright honest. I just been like, give us your money. God. They'd have to like, they couldn't have like, oh, you remember this, Mona Lisa Saperstein, the vacuous money grubbing, horrible spoiled asshole who was just always out for herself. She's representing the medical boards of America now.
Why not lean into it? Everyone knows that's what you're doing.
Yeah. I doubt they'll do that, but never know. That would be a thing in RoboCop. Actually, would just be have like, Donald Trump is now like the face of the U.S. Health Board or something.
Oh my god, that'd be fucking brilliant. Well, not in real life, it wouldn't be brilliant, but you know what I mean. For the sake of satire.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess technically he kind of was for a while. He might be again. You never know, but.
Something that I do genuinely think is pretty brilliant is when you go inside and you get the little lineup that you mentioned. Well, you got three of our boys and some random guy at the end that we'll have to talk about later. Maybe next week.
Oh, it's Angelo, isn't it? They recast him.
Yeah. Oh my god, that'd be amazing. Or they've already replaced Jim with some guy just in case.
This is like the meetings for a new Jim. And they just like having them sit there for a bit. And they're like, nah, that doesn't feel right. Bring in the next guy.
Oh my god, that's amazing. I love this idea. It's like the auditions, basically. Like, do you vibe with us? And
so like they're there, like they cast him as the new Jim, and they're like, oh well, we're here. Let's try out a new Angelo. So just got a guy shirtless with a fake mullet, like rocking out in front of them. They're like, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. But all I could think about seeing them like this for some reason was like, I don't know, like Breakfast Club.
Oh, it is about Breakfast Club, yeah. Or King of the Hill.
Oh, yeah.
Just all sitting around like, yep. Yep.
But who, both with Breakfast Club and King of the Hill, who would they be? I can't think.
Well, the thing is, like...
None of them are the jock.
Well, I guess Mark's the most dressed like Bender. Because he's got the bad boy look going, but he's the least Benderish of the crew.
He's not. Yeah, he's no bad boy in him.
I guess he would maybe be Emilio Estevez. Because like,
ooh, yeah, okay. Because he starts becoming a bit more of a party guy. Secretly, like it's within him, but he doesn't like let it out. That's Mark, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's just he is a fitness guy, and he's just very good at what he does, and he's put under a lot of pressure. By his father and whatnot, but that's to excel in the sports season. And Mark is a guy who excels and is chosen. I don't know if he referred to Taekwondo as a sport, but like, but I guess to him it would be more like it's like a way of life, Taekwondo. Yeah. But then I saw
Joe's got to be Ali Sheedy, right?
I guess so. It's kind of like the moody, quiet one, yeah? Who secretly yearns for connections with people, whether they have to travel around the entire world to all their home countries, or to just simply make friends with the people in the... And there was an outrageous scene where Joe came and he had like a makeover that nobody liked at the end.
Oh, yeah.
They just thought, what's wrong with Ali Sheedy and that? Is that she's a goth. That was the problem. And then every single person was like, what the hell is this?
And what's the message?
It says, if you dress happier, you'll be happier somehow. I was like, she just dressed the way she liked. Like, I liked the way she looked. She liked the way she looked. And now Molly Ringwald's coming and going like, no, I'm going to make you up and make you look pretty. I was just like, no. There's plenty of people who dress in black who are perfectly happy,
And she looks amazing,
Yeah.
And I was thinking maybe John could be like Anthony Michael Hall's character.
I guess, yeah.
Because he's a bit geeky,
He's a little bit geeky. I guess he would think he's the Bender. Like he would be like, yeah. He would believe himself to be the Judd Nelson of the group, but he's totally the Anthony Michael Hall.
That's it. We've hit the nail on the head, I think. Absolutely. Because none of them are like, none of them fit Molly Ringwald or anything. Like, maybe this random guy we don't know at the end does.
Yeah. Oh, he's the principal. And that's it. Come on. He's like, if you get my son stabbed again, you mess with the bulls, young man. You get the horns.
Wait, his son was stabbed too?
No. To be fair, I have to say, from this one shot as well, from a distance, he works as a middle-aged man. Like, we'll put a pin in that for next week. But like right now, I'm like, oh yeah, there's clearly an older man sat there. But
I just love that. It's a great shot because it's both like a classic kind of shot where they look really cool, but it's in a moment, their lowest moment. So it's also really like upsetting.
They do kind of look like they're kind of like, oh, they're the bad boys who've been brought in. They're either waiting at a police station or they're waiting outside the principal's office. Like that. Particularly, Mark's really exuding bad boy energy. I think it's because his legs are spread rebelliously apart.
It's the man spread, yeah.
Yeah, he's totally man spread. and then, of course, the ever dutiful Joe there, Joe Jack. He's copying Mark with his, like, he's probably got a little, what they call them in Curb, the pants tent. The corduroy riding up there. Yeah, but then, thinking he's a bad boy again. John in the middle, but then look at how nerdily he's sitting. With his like legs kind of crossed at the bottom and his hands clasped. Like,
that's like me. That's kind of one of my sitting positions. Yeah, I feel him. I either sit like him or guy at the end. That's another pose of mine.
Oh, I think guy at the end's my standard pose. Yeah, nowadays, even like I'm at my desk at work. And I have to, like, my feet are banging the top of the bottom of the desk and stuff.
I put my chair as low as it goes so I can do that under the desk. And then people think, like, why are you so fucking low to the ground? Like, shut up.
It's kind of because I want to look cool.
You don't get it.
But Mark is if this was the youthful Mark, we saw throughout the entire movie, I would much more believe him as a brother to them. But so it feels like Mark should be sitting like the guy at the end rather than
yeah. Although I do like Joe turning up in the band's merch. It's almost like this will give Jim the will to live. This will inspire him.
Well, so do we think that, like, at some point they had to call home?
Yes.
To be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna call, like, can you bring a shirt for John? I'm like, oh yeah, sure. Where to? Is it at the hospital? Like, why are you in the hospital? Oh yeah, Jim got stabbed. Yeah.
We'll tell you when you get here.
Was it at what point did they say as well? Was it like, while they were looking for the keys, where they're like, oh yeah, go up to the payphone. Jim's still lying there dying. Like, go ahead, get them, bring me my shirt.
Oh.
Although I guess they would have also had to coordinate. This must be literally hours later because after all that, they would have to be like, oh Christ, yeah, this friggin' dance. And the goddamn, oh yeah, so someone has to go, we have to go find his dad somewhere. So I guess Joe Jack would be like, go to the airport, collect him. And then, because they only have the one car, so would he have like, because he had to, maybe he had to pay out of pocket for a taxi to get there. Or he walked him. It's actually like, this is the next day because he had to walk to the airport.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head first time. I think what they've done is they've used the hospital phone, they've called back to the house, they've got the guys to come, with some provisions and clothes and things. And
John,
then,
of course, is forced to stand outside because no shirt, no shoes, no service.
Exactly, you're denied access. And then I think when Joe's arrived with all the stuff, they've gone, oh yeah, by the way, can you also go to the airport?
Where's Tom? Where's Angela? Like, it's just like, oh, can you do it? Nah, I'm good. Oh, no, I'm still all sore from the beating I got the other day. Yeah.
Well, that's it. He's got an excuse. What's Joe been doing?
That is true. What has Joe been doing? He's perpetually been, the weak link in Dragon Sound, quite frankly.
He's the lackey. He's what in Japanese wrestling. He's the young boy.
Yeah,
he's the one you send out to do shit. The young boys have to make the ring and everything.
Because there always is the kind of lame one, isn't there? It's even like reminded me in the new version of It. The Stephen King's It. Like, all those kids are really good, except for the kid who plays Stanley, who's a big crap, and he doesn't do much. And you're just like, what's this kid doing here? And
then one boring one.
Yeah, he is the boring one. And in those movies, he seems like a really bad actor. I've seen him in other stuff, and he's great. It's like, I don't know if the impact of it had on me. He's like, holy moly, I need to up my game here. But he was in another thing with the girl who played Beverly. It was on Netflix, and of course it got canceled after one season.
Like everything.
And it was really good. And I remember him being like, oh my God, he's so like exuberant and full of life in this. He's like the exact opposite of his character in It. So maybe he could have been like, I was always this way. I was playing him like a boring asshole. But But yeah. So I guess Joe Jack has been like kind of like, because in many ways you don't need him in the band. Like
but you like him being there.
You like him being there, but it is very like, considering they kind of forced him in to act this part. It could be like there's they already had 4 guys. Like you had Tom, Mark, John, and Jim. There you go, the Fab Four. You don't need another guy.
I just like him being. I don't know. There's always one random who kind of like everyone loves, but he kind of just hovers around, and that's what he fulfills. He's that friend you've got who's like, everyone loves him, but
they started playing into it. But like I felt it was criminal to treat her that way. But in What We Do in the Shadows, Kristen Schall's character.
Oh yeah, I got actually, as much as I love the show, I kind of started getting upset about what they were doing with it.
I think it just felt like the vibe was like we just like working with Kristen Schaal. I was like, I like Kristen Schaal. I always enjoyed her work. Why now you just shoehorned her in as an extra character who doesn't really fit, and then you have to just kind of keep making the joke that she just said she wants to be friends with all these guys, but they're not giving her the time of day, basically.
Yeah,
it's like, give her a proper part. Like, don't do this, because every scene she was in, there was just, but like, you're taking up time though from the characters I want to see. And also with this poorly written, she's like, who is the guide? Who cares? She's not. We made her up on the fly, and now we're like, we just want to keep bringing Kristen in, so jam her in here somewhere. Like, but sometimes that can work. But like, I can imagine like John Ralph going back to John Ralphio and Mona Lisa Saperstein. Like, I think they were probably only ever written to be like 1-off, 2-off characters, and then all of a sudden, they show up in Parks and Rec all the goddamn time because they're that good. So,
well, again, I mean, my example of how it can work is right fucking here. Because I think Joe, but you don't. I love him. I love you. I love you out there, Joe Jack.
Well, you should. You imagine John if he showed up at your house every night, and you just had to deal with him constantly. I guess maybe he did give me that every night.
Exactly. There you go. He's the kind of person, you're having a party, he'll be there, he'll be in the corner quite quiet, he won't say much to people, but inside he's like, this is a great night.
The thing is, though, is some people show up like that, John. And they're very quiet and they're very difficult to talk to.
That's true.
I think I've experienced. There's people like that we both know. I'm not going to name any names, but every time you end up at a party and you're stuck with them, it's a bit like, oh, Christ. And I've also got a guy like that in work as well, where I'm just like, and the thing is, the annoying thing is, he's a very nice guy. But every time I'm in with him, it's always very stuck for conversation. I'm trying my best, but I can never get more than, out of him. He always says all the time. Yeah. And then across the room, I hear him talking to people nonstop. I was like, what the hell is he? What? And the thing is, he always stops to talk to me. I think he's trying to engage in conversation. He's just a bit awkward about it. So
he's a fan of your podcasts. That's what it is. He's nervous.
Maybe that's it. Maybe he's someday I'm going to be like, do you listen to the Miami Minutes? And he'll be like, yeah.
He's just always wanted to meet you.
But no, I can imagine though that like maybe Joe is that guy. He's the guy that like when you're at the party and you're like, I'll go over stand near this guy, and then you realize, oh no, he's not much to talk to, and then you're like, oh Christ, how do I get out of this?
That's true, but I also get the vibe from him. He doesn't mind not speaking. He'll go away thinking that was the best night ever, and it's fine. He's had a good time. He just likes being invited.
Yeah. He does seem like the guy too that it would like inexplicably would get laid at that party. Like,
he probably gets up to all kinds of stuff. It just never gets mentioned, and like nobody knows. Yeah.
You're always saying like, he seems like there's not really much to him, and then you meet his girlfriend. It's like she's stunning, and you're like, what the hell? I guess because again, I've met guys like that as well. Where you're like, I don't understand what you're doing to attract these women, but yet they got away.
It's that Larry David swag.
Speaking of Larry David, though. Look at this freaking doctor who shows up. The Amblin man down here. Just
the speed or lack of that he just walks towards our boys in the camera.
Oh, his whole vibe is just like... maybe it's like it's an actor choice of just been like, this guy has seen like 15 ninja stabbings a night.
Well, we know there's a ninja epidemic, so...
That's the thing. He's worked his way up to the point of doctor, got stuck in Orlando. And he's just like, well, at least Orlando's not as bad as Miami, but oh no, there's a Miami connection now. And so this ninja warfare is just going statewide.
He left his old town. He left New York City because there was, the New York ninja and all that.
He was the finest doctor in New York City.
So he moved down here thinking, I'm getting away from all of that stuff, It's never going to trouble me again. And bam, right into it.
Yep. But the vibe the character he reminded me most of, this is a deep cut because not many people have seen this film. But remember Rules of Attraction, early 2000s. Bret Easton, actually, was talking about American Psycho there earlier. Another Bret Easton Ellis adaptation.
I vaguely remember. Yeah,
so I love Rules of Attraction, and I think it's a film that stands up today. I watched it because it's a Christmas movie as well. People forget. I watched it like a Christmas or two back. And the thing is, because every character in it is morally repugnant by design, the film has aged like a fine wine, because it's like, oh, they were horrible back in the early 2000s. And yeah, you don't go, oh my God, they're so problematic. You're just like, no, they were always meant to be dickheads. That was the whole point. But in that, there's a bit where, because they're all college kids, and some of them are more experienced than others, and Jay Baruchel, people might remember him from the voice in How to Train Your Dragon and whatnot.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He thinks he's overdosing, and they all panic, and they're all jamming him into a car, and then James Van Der Beek's also there, and he's just a really gruff. He's Patrick Bateman's brother, and so he has no sympathy for them, and he's just like, for fuck's sake, he's really, really raging that he has to do this. And then they get him to the hospital. They're lining him down like, oh my God, our friend is dying.
Oh.
And then the doctor, who just knows what's happening because it's college kids. And it's played by Paul Williams, of course, so the voice of the Penguin in the Batman animated series. He comes swaggering along, much like this doctor, where they're like, oh, God. And goes over and he's just like, yeah, I got some bad news for you. He's dead. And they're like, oh, no, he's not dead. And then James Van Der Beek is like, he's not dead. I can see him breathing. He says it. And Paul Williams the whole time is like, no, he's dead. And you're going to have to fill out some paperwork to get this body off the floor as well. And he's the whole vibe is just like, I'm sick of seeing you goddamn idiot kids thinking you're overdosing, clogging up my hospital. Get the hell out of here. And even then when Jay Baruchel wakes up and they're taking them away, they're like, where are you going with the dead body? We have to take him down to the morgue. Come back here. Like that kind of thing. But the same vibe from this guy is just like,
he's dead tired.
It's like another day, another goddamn ninja slaying. I was like, all right.
Yeah, he cannot be bothered. And, has he got good news? Has he got bad news? We don't know yet.
These scenes have been forever altered by Arrested Development, though. With that doctor and that. And the whole, the doctor who always, it looks like he's dead. Oh, no, he's covered in, blue paint. He looks like he's dead. But no, he's totally fine.
Oh, jeez, it's amazing. I love it. It's very, it reminds me of, comedy you got in, Naked Gun.
Yeah. Oh, I remember recently, he does it again when Buster gets his hand eaten off. And he comes out and he's just like, oh, yeah. Also, I've got some news. He's all right. And then everyone's like, oh, thank goodness, oh, goodness. And you hear George Michael in the background going like, there's no other way to take that sentence. And he's like, no, I mean, he's lost his left hand. He's going to be all right from now on.
All right.
And Jessica Walden's like, you son of a bitch. Just trying to swing at him and stuff. Oh,
fucking
so
classic.
Good. So good. It was so good. But no, every time now you see a doctor coming out to talk to anybody, I'm always in my mind, it's like, yep, it's Arrested Development now. It's just burrowed in there. But yeah, we will. I actually had notes on alternative endings, but I think I'll save them because we did. There is actually, of course, filmed. I mean, you can see the original ending of Miami Connection,
which I think we will have to talk about in some form.
Well, that's the thing though, because we are, we could have talked about it, this minute, but also, could also talk about it at the end of the movie as well, because we got we still got. Well, how many actual minutes of footage we got? We must be down to 2 or 3 actual minutes now.
Well, I mean, there's 5 weeks left. And there's only 2 with actual footage.
Oh boy!
I think this one here One is sort of there is sort of some footage because it's the start of the credits, and if you remember, this movie does the credits a bit like a TV show.
Yeah. I think it just comes up at the end like, "Thank you for being a friend." It just starts playing the go. That'd be the end of like the end of Masters of the Universe. Because people might recall, I mentioned Masters of the Universe once or twice in the show. But after the end credits, that cuts to that pink pool. And then like Skeletor's head comes up and he goes, "I'll be back," into the I think I actually Raul Julia at the end of the Street Fighter the movie as well does exactly the same thing. But
yes,
but it would be a great they just had like at the end they just start playing the Golden Girls theme at the end of at the end of Miami Connection, and then it just ends up, "Thank you for being a friend," and just Jeff's head pops up from the grave, "A friend."
Not me.
Everyone who counts, thank you for being a friend.
Holy shit.
But yeah. Well, guys, actually, because we will. To be fair, we will be in credits town for 3 episodes, so we might as well save some talk about the filmed ending.
Yeah, cool. Save it for
then, because again, a lot of those credits. And Batman, it's never a problem because everybody who works on a Batman movie usually went on to do something else. People who worked on Miami Connection, not so much.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be interesting. I'm quite scared and fascinated.
It's like a real swerve of the final episodes of the show are all like 5 minutes long. So we're like, we got nothing. See it.
Well, you know what? You've only had one drink today, listeners. So you know what? Fuck it. Have another one.
I guess I would say, we don't know who it is at the end.
Yeah.
But if you in your mind were to perceive that as been in some way a family drama,
well, he does call out for his father in the back of the car as well.
Oh, yeah, in a dramatic fashion. So there you go.
There you go. So there you go. Have that. Have the drink. And the only thing I've got here is the commentary track. I did quite like this. They laugh at how hilarious it is that Jeff comes back, essentially, to avenge his own death, in a way, yet dies again. YK Kim's like, he dies twice, and they're all laughing.
I was saying, like, which death was worse as well. It's just like, yeah, both of them were a little bit underwhelming, like, to be honest with you. But did you prefer, listeners write in, did you prefer Jeff Death number 1 or Jeff Death number 2?
Yeah, let us know, because I personally just love them both. I don't care. They're both different. That's another interesting thing. A big fall, a stabbing, they're not just repeating themselves. Different.
I think I would put Jeff's first death as been the because it was that one is a bit out of nowhere. Like, it really took us by surprise when we were recording. But like, I think that also works in a, like, the way the major characters in The Wire. I think I might even said during that episode, the major character in The Wire gets taken out of nowhere, and it's such a what the hell? And it's supposed to be like, well, this happens in life sometimes. And so I can accept it with Jeff. With Yashito's death, you could argue the same thing, but I would be more like, no, I want this to be like him been thrown into a chasm, or like it should have been like a much bigger death in my eyes. It should have had some supernatural dragon crap happening and stuff,
I mean, that would have been absolutely fucking brilliant. Yeah, can't
basically. I just wanted to turn into Big Trouble in Little China. At the end, that's all I asked of this micro budget movie.
It's basically just Big Trouble in Little Korea.
Yeah. Could we do we might have brought it up last week, but then, we were talking about other films. We do bonus episodes. Maybe just talk about Big Trouble in Little China sometime.
Do a bonus one. Hell yeah. You know what? We've got lots of ideas, people. Lots of ideas. Yeah. But would you like to break the connection then if you are saving your other endings?
Yes. I'll bring that up in future installments.
Excellent. We will then depart. Come and speak to us. All the usual. Can't be bothered. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of that. And why don't you review us on your podcast platform of choice? Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever. Give us a 5-star review, because even one 5-star review, we've got a couple in the UK. I'm not sure how many we have in America. But each one massively helps. It bumps you way up the algorithm. It's crazy. So each one, amazing. And if you think we're 4 stars, just don't fucking bother. 4 stars is basically 0 stars. Like, that's the weird. It's stupid, but that's the way it works. It's 5 or don't bother, basically. So if you think we're worth 5, go give us 5, and that'd be great. That would help us out. Join us again in 1 week for minute 83 of Miami Minutes. Come on!
Listen to me.